We are here to know, love, and serve God. And how do we come to love God? First, by knowing Him, by knowing His attributes, by knowing about His love, by knowing about all His wonders. And we want to love Him. And then when we love Him, obviously we want to obey Him and serve Him. I'm making a video about ignorance, willful ignorance, because I think willful ignorance can be sinful, because it's a choice. We can choose to be ignorant of the Word of God. We can choose not to know about His attributes. We can choose to wallow in our ignorance, to be lazy, slothful, and not do the research that is essential to knowing God. Our God is a God of order and of sanity. He is opposed to all chaos. His universe is perfectly orderly and beautiful. God is not opposed to science and mathematics. God is science and mathematics. He created it all. I'm sure you're aware of sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is constant evidence of intelligent design. Science does not contradict God. True science complements God, and it's sublimely beautiful. But it takes a little time to research it. I just posted a little video. Well, it's over an hour. It's called God of Wonders. It's a documentary. It's been around for years, and it just goes into some of the amazing characteristics of God's creation, from animals to sea creatures to you name it. Birds. It goes into a lot of detail about birds and cycles of life and all these beautiful things. None of it is contrary to God. It explains, in so far that anything in creation can explain God, because God is inexplainable. It leads to God. If it's not true science, it'll lead from God, like Darwinism and evolution. That leads away from God. That's false science. True science leads to God. Like the sheer size of the universe. How amazing, what an amazing God that He could create a universe of such great size. The number of galaxies, the number of stars, the number of planets, etc., etc. The way that the Earth is, that so that it sustains life, has to be in such a position, this far from the sun, this far from the moon. Without the moon, what will we have? Chaos. Without this exact distance from the sun, well, we'd either be burned to death or we'd be frozen. Do research. It's exciting. It's interesting. But to say God is not in science and not in mathematics and not even in art, true beauty, He's in all of it. He is the creator of all of it. He is the great mathematician, the great scientist. I'm bringing this up because I've seen on channels a lot of frightening ignorance that detracts from the majesty and glory of our God, and I don't like it. So we have an obligation to know as much as we can about God, to research it, to study it, and to come to love Him more and more. Because the more you know about Him, the more you're in awe, and the more you're amazed, and the more you want to know more and love Him more. So be diligent. Use discernment. Don't just... People are just dribble coming out of their mouths, especially in these last days. It's everywhere. Deception, delusion, ignorance, focusing on the wrong things. Let's focus on the real nature of God, the beauty of God, the awesomeness of God, and we'll be okay. I don't want to be deceived. I've lied to all my life. The problem is there's so much that is not true, so much we are taught that is not true, that they throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Some of it is true, and some of it is awesome. If it leads to God, you know it's true. If it detracts from God, it's false. It's that simple.